So good morning and welcome to another episode of Better Business, Better Life. Today I'm joined by Peter Stewart, who's the founder of Lynx Recruitment. And Peter is based here in Auckland, has got around about 20 staff in his business, but has quite an interesting background, actually started in real estate. So welcome to the studio. Lovely to have you here.
Yeah. Good morning, Debbie.
Yeah, good morning. So good. Hey, keen to hear, because you did not start in recruitment, right? You've got quite an interesting backstory. Tell us a little bit about how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, so started in recruitment. Started in real estate, and I was in Christchurch, New Zealand, obviously, and they had the earthquakes down there.
Yeah.
I was still I was pretty young when I got into it. I think I was 19 or something when I got my real estate license.
Mm-hmm.
So once the earthquake happened, nobody knew what was happening with sales. No one knew what was happening with insurance. And I remember my boss at the time, he's like, mate, get out of here. He's like, you're too young. Like, there's too much going on. Like, get out of here. So went to Gold Coast, did some pretty crunchy door-to-door sales over there, which really built character and resilience.
So when you don't say door-to-door sales, you mean literally knocking on people's doors?
Knocking on people's doors.
What?
Solar power.
Oh, wow.
Which in Australia you would think is easy because there's so much sun, but it's still very expensive. And Australians at the time were very suspicious about government grants because they had multiple government grants before it and gone well. But and then did my time on the Gold Coast, came back to real estate, and long story short, got a job in an office at Ray White in Remuera up in Auckland, and worked there, working for the office, for the business, not as a salesperson, which was cool because I got exposed to a lot of conversations from quite a successful business person who was really dynamic, and learned. I don't think she thought that I was learning a lot from her, but I learned heaps from her, and that was really cool.
Yep.
And then, long story short, a lot of my friends were getting like jobs at corporate businesses and law firms, all this stuff, and I was like, look, I need to get a bit serious here. So got a job at Hayes Recruitment, and first day I was hooked.
Right, cool. So how long ago was that?
About 10 years now. It'll be 10 years, yeah.
Sure. And so you worked through a number of different recruitment. I mean, you worked for a startup recruitment company, and then went backwards and forwards a couple of times.
Yeah. So started at Hayes, joined a recruitment startup. So I was their first full-time recruiter. Then the business partnership there broke up, so I went and joined another recruitment firm. Mm-hmm. And then went back to the original startup, and it was great to see how that business had grown. And then eventually had that conversation with my director and said, hey, look, I'm so sorry, but I got to do this for myself.
Because you said to me you were actually starting to help them build up a new market.
Yeah.
So you suddenly thought, what am I doing this for somebody else for?
Oh, and look, my old boss, I absolutely love them to bits, and we still catch up all the time. Like probably every couple of months we go over there. Yeah. And I remember when I had it, he said, "Oh, Peter Stewart, your time is not great, mate." But he's like, "I need to do this one day." So he's like, "Let's stay on as mates." He's like, "Don't touch my staff." Okay, fair enough. So that was cool, and then naively started a recruitment company.
And that's a big jump, right? Going from working for somebody to going like this for myself. What are you most proud of in terms of taking that first leap and where you are now?
I think if we look at all the things that we've done well, I think we've given a lot of people, we've exposed, like when I first started, obviously needed to hire recruitment agents. Yeah. No one experienced would come and work for me because our branding was very different and untraditional for a normal recruitment agency. And I was unknown. Like I didn't really have any management experience. I've been recruiting a while, but I wasn't recruiting a long time. And I certainly didn't have any management experience. And so recruiting experienced recruiters was pretty much off the table day one. So I was hiring people that had just literally just wanted to get into recruitment. And here I was showing them how to do it. So I think if I look back and I think, all the opportunities that we've given people to get into it have been really cool. Because it's the thing with recruitment, it's not just doing recruitment, getting the sales, it's the skills that you learn. Mm-hmm. You're dealing with business people, you're dealing with candidates, and you're talking about really serious. You're talking about the career, which is really serious. Yep. The actual work that you're doing is valuable. It is important. I think as recruitment consultants probably get a bad name for a number of reasons. And as
I mean, I use car sales.
I actually got called a used car salesman at a recruitment industry event.
Did you?
By a lady, so that was cool. But but you know, it's a really tough job. It's a really tough industry, and yeah, you know, and that's been awesome. And I think so it's been cool to expose people to that. Not so much like in many cases, like 90% of people that get into recruitment are not there in a year. So the industry has a massive turnover rate. So yeah, basically for every 10 people that get hired in recruitment, after a year, one of them will still be there.
Wow.
So
it's huge. Okay.
It's huge, and so
and that must come with
that was exhausting. Right? So it was exhausting. So the first 18 months, I hired a bunch of people as recruitment consultants who had no experience. I had no experience managing, and basically made every mistake possible. Was frustrated by how it was going because do you know what I mean? But it was all self-inflicted. Mm-hmm. So I think my intentions were good. My execution was horrendous. But you know, you learn by your mistakes. So that was cool. And then I think, you know, if I look at what we've actually done well and what I'm really excited about, and I think the brand that we've come up with, and I think the way that we position ourselves in the market now is really cool. Right. Like I look at the brand we've got now, the company we've got now, the marketing that we're doing, how it's coming across and how it's been received too. Mm-hmm. It is really exciting. It's starting to build a lot of hype, and it's actually getting to the point now where we're having those recruiters I was telling you about before that I can never dream of hiring. They never dream of hiring these people. They don't want to come work for me. Yeah. Now they're knocking on our door.
Excellent.
Which is really cool. So that's been So that's probably the biggest one is building a home for great recruiters who are really passionate about themselves, want to do well, want to set themselves up, want to take advantage of their hard work. Do you know what I mean? And really get rewarded for it and go hard.
Cool. But it hasn't always been sailing either, has it? Because, I mean, you started in 2018.
Yes.
You had a really good sort of, a year and a half or whatnot. And then, of course, the dreaded COVID hit.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's an old saying, even a turkey can fly on a tailwind. So I wouldn't say I was exactly a turkey, but that boom market that we had pre-COVID certainly covered up a lot of mistakes that I was making, shortcomings that I had, around management systems, processes. We had nothing. Our guys weren't specializing. We were generalists, basically making every mistake possible. But because the market was so buoyant, we were able to get away with it.
Yep.
And we had a couple of guys in there actually producing pretty good. So, and we had a lot of overheads because they were young recruiters. They weren't on massive salaries. We had an old villa on College Hill next to Cav, which is that's another story in itself. And that allowed us to basically, I could make whatever mistake I want, and I wasn't going to get caught out. But the moment that COVID happened, and the revenue tap was absolutely turned off.
Yep.
The consultants hadn't been trained properly. They weren't specializing. They didn't know their market. I didn't know how to handle this situation. You know what I mean? I'd never been for anything, but no one had been for that. And I was asking people that I thought knew better, and they had no advice either. So
none of us knew what to expect.
Yeah.
It's pretty unusual the people who went through all the plague and stuff are dead now. So we didn't get happened to their knowledge.
So being in a situation, and we had grown aggressively, and I was out to prove a point. We'd grown a lot. So we had about 9 staff when it hit. We'd only been going 18 months.
Yeah.
We were all permanent business. We had no temporary business, which is, as a recruitment company, you want to have that mix. So basically, it's absolutely got caught with my pants down. Absolutely got caught. So
that's okay because that
massive lesson,
and that hit a lot of people. So I wouldn't get too concerned about that. But what did you learn from that, and how did you then put into, the future, your learnings for building the business back up again?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think what came out of that that's been really important is specialization.
Yep.
So when we were trying to be all things to all people, which is such a looking back on it, so it was embarrassing. It's such a rookie mistake.
Yeah.
We were trying to be all we were recruiting all sorts of stuff. Like just we'd have one recruiter. He'd be doing he or she would be doing an administrator here, a senior project manager here, an accounts receivable person here. You know, it was just a mess.
Yep.
And then they were all in the same industry, talking to different clients, and it was so scrappy. So having that moment where we were forced, obviously, to reduce headcount, we were able to put people into, and the other thing too, we were like, well, we only had certain demand for certain things, which is obviously a bit closed. So even in the middle of COVID, when we had lockdowns, all this crazy stuff was going on, our clients were still, hey, if you've got any quantity surveyors, and we were like, oh, everyone's trying to, like, no one can find people. Like, they're like, yeah, well, they still need quantity surveyors. And even though people were getting made redundant, the people that were getting made redundant it was people just getting rid of loose change. Do you know what I mean? And so there was still really good demand for that. I was like, oh shit, you know, we should be focusing on this, because, you know, whether the times are great or bad, the demand's still there. And so we thought, right, well, let's specialize in that. So we really got deep into that market, got our databases sorted, got things cleaned up. Do you know what I mean? Started messaging in a certain way. And then we had another guy who was specialized in mining. So he was doing jobs in Australia, but from Auckland. And it was quantity surveyors and miners drilling, diamond drillers in Australia, out of all places, that actually got us through COVID. Without that, we'd have been toast. So
it kind of forced you to really be really clear about who that ideal target client is, and then get really specialized that, and also have specific roles for different people, right? So having accountabilities for people that they had their own swimming lanes to work in.
I mean, looking back, it's almost embarrassing that we had such a higgledy-piggledy business, and then just, you know, to have that moment where, you know, get taken out back and given a hiding, essentially. And, you know, from a business point of view, yeah, and you walk out there a lot, you know, you're like, okay, pick yourself up. And specialization was a massive one. And just looking at those skills, you know, those skill sets which the market demands from us, and understanding why they demand from us, and actually understanding the value that we provide and why we provide it, not just like, you know what I mean? They were just,
which is such a funny market before the podcast.
Pre-COVID, it was such a funny world and market, particularly for recruitment. Like, it was really buoyant. Like, there was a lot of money in the system, I think, and and obviously, like last year, there was too, with lots of house prices and stuff. But like, you did not need to be a good recruiter to make good fees. Whereas last year, strangely enough, even though there was more money in the financial system, and there was lots of opportunity, lots of people needed staff, it's actually a lot harder to deliver them. So you had to be better.
Right.
But pre-COVID, you could, time again, I wish I'd...
Pop-up recruitment shop.
You could, I remember, this should have been a red flag. And, I don't know if there's people not listening, but I remember going to an industry event, and there were a couple of people that had just started a company on Waiheke, and they were just going to, it was just like a generalist agent on Waiheke, just doing whatever. And like, looking back on it now, I'm like, that's crazy. They'd spent a whole bunch of money, like, getting it set up and stuff, and just like, so as many mistakes as I made, like, I don't know that God.
That happens a lot.
I remember, like, it's probably thriving over there.
No, and I think it's one of the things we teach our clients is, you have to be very specific about, who your target market is and what you actually offer them. And you said this about the clients you work with. When you go into a person, you ask them, what makes you unique?
Yes.
A lot of companies actually struggle to tell you what makes them unique. Like, why would that person come work with you?
Well, it's actually quite a hard question, and it's scary to be unique. Like, it's not actually, like, it takes more courage to be unique and do something different than it does to do what everyone else is doing.
Yeah.
So, but if, at the moment we're in a market where if you're not unique in terms of so we're talking about attracting talent to a business, so I'm a business person, I'm struggling to get talent. How do I get talent to my business? You've got to have good points of difference. You've got to have a unique selling point. If you've got a great reputation or you're doing something unique, then that's easier. It's a tech startup or it's something really exciting. But if you're a business, if you're an auto electrician, you're an auto electrician only hunger, like, that's very hard for you to, make yourself different. Or a building company just looking for a carpenter, so I'm seeing businesses now that are really using social media to get on top of that. They're creating up Instagram pages, they're creating followers, and they're posting videos of their guys on a Friday going out for a surf or doing stuff like that, and they've got them all barbecuing, and that's really smart. Like, that's good business, and any business can do that, but most don't.
Right. Cool. So what you're doing is you're kind of reversing it from being a going out there looking for people to hopefully having people wanting to come and work for you, just like they did with Lynx, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, if you can, it's a lot better to attract candidates and take them for a process, show them what you've got, get really good expectations about what it's going to look like, how it's going to be, then make the recruit, rather than trying to rip somebody out of somewhere else, paying them, more per hour or, X amount of, some of the pay rises that I'm seeing are extreme at the moment. Like,
Really?
like we're talking about people going from 75 grand to 130 grand,
Whoa.
which is crazy. In some sectors, there was one in, what industry is that? There might have been a health and safety job.
Right.
So two things could be true there. One, he's getting a great salary where he is, and two, he was probably very underpaid. So, you know what I mean? You might be going from health and safety admin through to a manager and just had that.
But money isn't everything, right? Because we know this. I've got clients who've had staff for a long time, and they get offered a whole lot more to go work for somebody else, and they don't want to leave because they actually enjoy where they are. So it is definitely a motivator, but it's not everything, is it?
I think time will tell on that one. And what I mean by that is because of the environment we're in now where inflation is a serious factor, I think that has potentially moved the needle quite a lot between people really valuing that high rate, more in the sense that, like pre-COVID, absolutely I'd agree with you, where it's like, look, yes, it offers 20 grand more, but, I just love it here. The people are good. And my life's not that hard. Like, I don't have that much pressure. I'm not struggling to pay my bills. Like, I'm not struggling to afford groceries. But in terms of cost of living, but maybe it could be different in other parts of the world, but certainly in this country, cost of living has really been a factor. So we're starting to see people leave major centres for regions because Christchurch at the moment is really of interest because you can buy a house down there. You could be a young couple, 750 grand, you've got a 4-bedroom house, you know what I mean? And you can buy groceries and you can have a kid and they can run around the backyard and it's safe and there's not that much commuting. Like, in Auckland, it gets you a studio apartment.
Yeah, if you're lucky.
South Lower Story, in the cover of darkness. So that's a major. So, but we digress there. I mean, money will help you get people to you. Yeah. It won't help you keep them. Unless you're paying way over the odds, in which case loyalty probably is for sale to a certain extent. But if all you've got is money, you need to have that special sauce. Depends what sort of business you're in too, I would say.
Because we talked about the whole, working from home.
If you're an architecture firm, and the people there are creative and they love the work they do, so architectural firms and engineering firms and even construction firms to a certain extent that are working on, let's say, the sexy jobs in town. Do you know what I mean? They're doing the big towers, they're doing all this stuff. They can actually get away with paying juniors a little bit less because they want to work on that project.
Right.
They want that project on their CV. It's like, like a Snapchat or these fast accelerating tech startups. So we'll give you 0.001% equity. Yep. And you'll work for us for 40 grand and you'll work 80 hours a week. People are willing to go on that journey. So, it really depends on the person. If someone's in a sales-driven environment or they're an accountant, they're just going to be looking straight at the numbers. With quantity surveyors, particularly, we do a lot of quantity surveyors.
Yeah, we're talking
They
about
are very money-driven individuals because they literally sit there all day negotiating contracts.
Yeah.
So,
okay,
fair enough, right?
Yep. So we talked about, obviously being able to go out and do some surfing, being able to have beers on a Friday. What other things make workplaces attractive? The working from home things become a big thing, isn't it? For certain jobs.
Flexibilities, So I think, we were saying before, so I think the number one search term now on Seek, it's work from home or remote or a combination of those, that's really important. The things that people used to search the most were, obviously money used to be the most important factor. Career progression used to be the most important factor. But since COVID, flexibility is a massive one. Some jobs obviously don't. It's not possible. They need to be on site.
Site manager.
Because they're doing a physical job that needs, whatever. But there's a lot of stuff in our economy that can be done remotely. So employers that aren't offering some sort of flexibility or remote working or day from home for a week or even a shortened week or whatever are seriously limiting their talent pool. So, do you know what I mean? You might have 10 candidates available. Now that you've you say, nah, they've got to be there 9 to 5, or in the middle of the city, you got to pay for your own parking. You literally might as well just put up a sign and say, don't work for us. But no one's going to anyway.
Yep.
So remote's massive. I think being everyone's got different factors, like if somebody's got, someone's got 2 kids, that's their world.
Mm-hmm.
They're comfortable paying their mortgage payments, providing the kids. They want to be there for them. They want that flexibility. They're not going to be, money's going to be massive, but being able to be home at 3:30 on Wednesday for the kids' sport is far more important to them than that extra 5 or 10, 15 grand.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a young couple trying to get into a house, that money's everything because they're going to need that salary to go to the bank for a mortgage.
Yep. So
that becomes a massive motivator for them. So it is different. Interestingly enough, like when we actually are recruiting and we're going through that process with candidates and we say, I always say, particularly in construction, for example, I say, look, we've got 5 things here. You've got money, you've got projects, you've got flexibility, you've got culture, and you've got career advancement. Like, which ones are important? You can't have all 5 because they're just not a thing.
It's kind of the project triangle, isn't it?
Yeah. So which ones are important? Some might say, look, we just had a baby. This thing's way more expensive than we thought it was going to be. Like, I need money, man. Okay, all right. Well, I can put you on this project at this place. It's going to be big hours. The turnover's high, but you'll get paid. Yep. There you go. Sweet. I'm willing to suck that up for 2 years and go through that. Or someone might be like, culture's massive for me. I love sports. Love it. Yeah, and this is really a people person. It's like, I can put you over here. Look, to be honest, these don't actually pay as much as the next one, but their staff tenure is amazing. Yep. They've got repeat clients. It's a real community there. You'll be looked after should something go wrong. Mm-hmm. They're not transactional. And someone's like, oh, yeah, cool. And they'll sacrifice a couple of dollars an hour or 10 or 20 grand on the salary or whatever to go work there. So it's different for everyone. There's definitely it's not blanket. Different industries will certainly have different personality types that are all suited to it. So there's some sort of themes there.
What about, we're about to kind of go into, potentially a recession. We don't know how big or long or deep it will be. I'm not a big believer. I don't think it'll be that huge, but who knows? I'm not, haven't got my crystal ball out.
Yes.
What do you think, what impact is that going to have on recruitment?
Well, people will be, we've been in a market now where people will literally, like, in some jobs, for example, they just send anyone. Do you know what I mean? You could literally send a monkey. Right. And they'd be stoked. Yep. Yeah, they'd be absolutely, they'd chuck a hard hat on him and away he goes. And everyone would be happy. But I think when the market, that's where we'll have to see. So if it gets to the point where people, their P&L is getting seriously affected, and obviously wage is going to be the biggest cost for most businesses. Yep. So that's the easiest place to make cuts. So if we see redundancies across the board, this is what we saw in COVID. That is it's a pretty wild environment. So seriously affects confidence. That could be quite wild. If we start seeing, you will get corporate restructures. You're getting that anyway. All the
happens
time.
Every 18 months.
That happens every 18 months. So I don't know if we can put that down to economics, but the problem this time will be the amount of disposable income that's available. And there's also been a lot of malinvestment as well. If you look at some of the people, like particularly in most markets you look at, there are a lot of people who have been promoted because they're there. A lot of people that have been promoted because they're the only ones willing to put their hand up. Yep. And it's just been needs must. It's not been this person's got the skills, this person's got the experience, this person's suitable even. It's just been like, we need, we need a bum on a seat for a certain role. And that's it. That's all that's available. So that's where it goes a bit more into, I guess, it's a bit more about merit at that point. Do you know what I mean? So the cream rises to the top. So if someone's having to do a restructure, or, they're obviously going to keep what they perceive as their highest performing, most important people, and then they'll lose that. So in terms of for recruitment, there'll still be parts of the market where it's so skill short that there'll still be demands on that. But it'll make getting jobs harder for sure. So people won't have as much choice. They won't have as much bargaining power, when they go to negotiate a salary. Yeah. They won't have, once again, not as many options. The only thing is, the factors around recruitment at the moment, particularly in New Zealand, I can't speak for other countries, but it sounds like the developed world's pretty much the same in all cases. We've had 30 years of people not doing technical trades, or they're going to university and studying arts degrees or BComs or marketing, which is it's the best 3 years of your life. But unfortunately, a lot of these degrees have no real utility in the real world, and so you've seen massive underinvestment in people doing trades, engineering, IT, all these areas are super skill short. Accountants, you speak to most accountants, they can't keep up. Lawyers can't keep up. All these sort of traditional jobs, really struggling. Builders, sparkies, all this stuff. Nurses, there's serious issues in this country. So you've got...
Well, and that still hasn't changed. Like, we had obviously all that restrictions on people coming into the country when we had COVID.
Yes.
And it hasn't really lifted back.
So you've got misallocated investment in training in terms of doing free university degrees, which has basically got everyone to go do these. Then you've got no immigration, or very low immigration for the last 2 years with COVID. I think this country is just finding out now how reliant we were or are on migrant workforce for just stuff like nursing, even just
nursing home stuff, trades, and also I've got to go for a vineyard. They've literally had to go and pick their. I mean, they're in their late 60s, early 70s. They thought this was a retirement thing where they just had other people coming in and doing it, and now they're out there picking grapes. It's crazy.
Crazy. You can't get anyone, and they're paying good rates. And then you've got and this is the big one, which is people are starting to talk about this now. What a serious problem we've got: aging population.
Right.
So you've got the boomers now. They've got these businesses. The kids don't want them because the kids have seen how much work they've put into the small business and how much stress that they've had to take and all the rest of it. So they don't want it. The staff don't want it. They're not really sellable, a lot of these businesses. And then you've just got an aging population where people are retiring. And once again, those people that are coming through, they're not trained in these sorts of things that are retiring. So I think at the moment, for every 5, I don't know this verbatim, but for every 5 tradies retiring, you've got 2 being trained up.
Wow.
So
huge deficit.
If you just think, it's just the things like HVAC electricians that can come and fix your heat pump when it's broken, or guys doing the sewers, or all this sort of stuff that people don't really think about. Or the fixing the lines, when the power breaks out, all this sort of stuff. These aren't jobs that have been they're not sexy, they're not rewarded that well financially, but they're what makes the
world go round.
Makes the world go round. And we're probably gonna feel the effects of that. So it's gonna be really interesting. So I guess people with skills that are, they want to work hard and get on with it, they're going to be absolutely fine. And I think, as we go through this sort of moment, I think, there will be a rotation where they start getting really well looked after. Society really starts rewarding those people financially. And even from a status point of view, it's like we start looking at tradies and we start looking at these guys and going, because first of all, you know how much money they're making because the demand for them is so high and they're qualified, and oh shit, all these old people have retired now, and now there's only like so many retired people. So hopefully, us as a culture, we actually start going, hey, these guys are awesome. Like, thank you so much.
Nurses, they should better reward
nurses. I mean, that's crazy, right? Like, and you look at, I'll get into politics here, but you look at all, you look at the money that gets spent in certain areas, and you got all these nurses protesting for a pay rise and stuff. They're overworked, they're stressed, all the A&Es are understaffed, people are waiting hours and hours and hours. Something's not right. And we have a really dysfunctional labour market in this country. It's not going to get fixed overnight. So I think depending on what people do for a living, they'll be fine. It's people that are in, cushy middle management roles that could be done without. They're going to be first to go. How deep it cuts, I don't think it's going to cut that deep.
I think because we've got really low unemployment at the moment, so I think we're going to be probably reasonably okay.
I can't see builders going out of work. Residential is going to get hit really hard potentially. Residential development, and a lot of people have been making a lot of money in that space, and they're all about to potentially struggle for work. But there's so much other work that needs doing. In all the regions, there's all there's schools, there's retirement, there's all this sort of stuff that needs building. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes in that market. But yeah, it could be a weird year.
What about permanent versus contract versus temp? As we go into potentially a time we might tighten our belts and look at who we're actually doing, there's an opportunity to replace permanent staff with contract staff or with temporary staff.
Yeah, I'm surprised we don't. New Zealand doesn't have a massive culture of contract. So temp's always big, because temp's always, that's sometimes the only way you can supplement a project or a workforce, or it's just the nature of the work, so short term. Temp's really good. Like, so if you've got something that's really low skilled and really high turnover, temp's good, because you can temp someone, and if they're great, hire them full time. Cool. So it's a really good runway.
Just out of interest, legally, how does that work? It's okay to take somebody temporarily, so they're a temp staff member, and then you offer them a full-time job.
So it's typically for an agency.
Not a fixed contract, because fixed contract moving to temp to permanent is a danger,
That's a fixed term. Yeah, fixed terms. So you don't see, fixed term is more like white collar, I would say. So you probably divide them. So blue collar, you've got like temps. So so we might have somebody ring up and say, hey, we've got a building site. We get to the end, we need site clean up. We need 4 labourers. And they're just going around with brooms, whatever, for 2 weeks. That's cool. So that's temp. Now there might be someone in there that's amazing, and they go, hey, we want to go give this. He turned up here every day. He was 5 minutes early. He's got a great attitude. He's bubbly. He was awesome. Everyone loved him. Like, we want him on our team. Like, what have we got to pay it? And that's awesome. That's where temp's great. Fixed term contract is probably more like, might be more like, something like IT or, or banking, or maternity cover is a common one. Someone's like, or just a job that needs doing. Like, hey, we need you in here for 6 months to build a HR system. We currently don't have a HR system. We need a HR system. Go get a HR expert. Fixed term, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, whatever. That's cool. And then permanent is obviously in New Zealand in the last, for the last 10 years, really, other than that dip in COVID, that 6 month sort of thing where things were a little bit uncertain. It's
a little bit uncertain.
Yeah, it's always been permanent. But if you go to other markets in the world, particularly the UK, contract is a lot more it's a more educated marketplace around that, I suppose. If you look at parts of IT, contract's more, a lot more used.
Right.
And, even at the senior levels, so, we might see more of that in New Zealand. I'm surprised we don't now.
So I think a little bit of flexibility. I mean, it's almost like having, I liken it to in the old IT days, you'd have servers off-site that you could ramp up or ramp down as and when you needed them.
Yes.
That's what your contract staff actually gives you the opportunity to do, is bring in people as and when you need them for certain particular skill sets.
Yes.
And then they're gone when you don't need them anymore.
Yeah, I think, I guess there's a cost associated with it. So something like construction, for example, if you need a quantity surveyor, for a project, and the project's 12 months, but after that 12 months you've got a ton of work coming through, because there's massive demand for what these guys do at the moment. You're just like, well, we just get someone on salary. Then they're in our team, they're in our culture. The downside of a contract, of course, it comes in, gets a lot of your IP. It's not there for a while. It could walk out of all your systems and processes for all so there is a risk there. And they're not might not integrate with the team and the culture, and you're trying to build that. So it depends on the job, really. But more established markets like the UK, they use heaps of contractors, because it's all project based. And it's like, we're doing this project, so it just makes sense. But once again, there's a lot more financially. It's a lot more costs. A lot more costs.
Sure.
So there's pros and cons, but we might see a more contract rich environment in New Zealand if things do get, and the economy get unstable. Certainly people will be like, oh, well, shit, we've got this job, it's got 6 more months, can we get someone on contract? And there'll be people available to do it. Whereas right now, the only other thing with that, though, a lot of employers will want full-time.
Right.
So when the market starts going down, what will happen, we'll start getting guys hit us up and go, oh, hey, I've been contracting, don't really work at the moment, wouldn't mind, got a kid on the way. It's always so I've got a mortgage, I want a salary job now. So that's where the market kind of goes two separate ways, with the employers actually wanting contract and the contractors actually wanting security. So you've all of a sudden you've got this weird dichotomy where it's like that wasn't happening before, because the contractor could have made way more money, but then he didn't want to pay it, because he's like, well, I've got so much work. I don't want to pay a contract. I want a full-time staff, because I've got this. And then all of a sudden that paradigm changes, where both parties want something different. So
That'd be interesting. Okay, 3 top tips. So let's just say we've got people listening in who are thinking about recruiting.
Yes.
What are the 3 top tips you would say for when you're considering recruiting? How do you make a recruiter's job easier?
Yes.
How do you make sure you get the right people to do the
Yes.
right jobs, etc.?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things. I think the first thing is you've got to actually decide what it is you want and need.
Yep.
So, and get quite, first thing is put together a job spec.
Yep.
And you'd be surprised how little thought often goes into this. Like, what are you actually trying to do? So we'll go see a client and be like, what do you want? But, we need, we need this. Like, oh, what for? What are they doing? And they'll be, we're doing this. Oh, how's their performance going to be measured? And these are the things you need to be thinking about. What are the duties? What are the expectations? So as the hiring manager, how's their performance going to be measured?
Yep.
A lot of the times when we're actually going through the initial phases with the employer, they can't answer those questions. Yeah. So it's like, and then what you actually find is you just needed an assistant. Do you know what I mean? Because you just needed this. Or sometimes, hey, you're bringing a knife to a gunfight here. You need something a lot more established. It's going to cost a lot more. So to tell you, but I know you're trying to spend 80. This is going to be a 150 hire to get what you want out of it. So that's really important. So
we use the accountability chart where you literally kind of say this is what the role of that person is, and they have specific measurables that says, okay, this is what we're going to hold you accountable for in that role. So that's the first step, is making sure you really understand what you want and need. How does it fit into the overall structure with the other people around you?
Yep. 100%. They might be like, we need a quantity surveyor. So, what's he doing? Oh, we've got this $40 million project coming up. And so, what do you want to spend? It's like, that's a serious role. This project's going to be a business that turns over $40 million over the next 18 months, and you want to put a junior on it. Yeah, it's like, So I'm sorry to tell you, but this is what you have to spend. So, so there's defining it, really important. Then there's the marketing.
Right.
So attraction. So you've got 2 options there. You either headhunt, use a recruiter, headhunting firm, go and actively find candidates, tap them on the shoulder, so to speak, tell them what's so great about your companies and why this should change. Or you've got the other option, which is attract. So you do the marketing, you put it on job boards, all that sort of stuff, LinkedIn, networking, all that kind of thing. Yep. To create a shortlist. And so there's that. So I think,
do most clients do a mixture of both, or is it one or the other? Yeah.
Well, they actually, as a team effort, they kind of work well, because if you're trying to headhunt and at the same time you're running a campaign, the candidate's going to think a couple of things. To be fair, they're like, obviously no one's there, no one sent the CV to the ad, or they might think, I didn't know about that. That's really cool. Thanks for telling me. Well, I don't want to miss out on that. So the advertising will create some sort of FOMO.
There's a deadline as well, right? You've got a deadline to actually apply.
It creates urgency. It's recruitment. A big part of being a successful recruiter is you need to, or even successfully recruiting staff member. I'll take the recruiter out of it. Just you're a person in your business trying to hire someone. There needs to be a level of urgency in that process if you're going to attract good talent and capture them. Yep. It's like doing any sales thing, right? If you want to get your client to sign up to a contract, there needs to be a level of urgency in there. So you need to set some dates around it, what the purpose is, and if you can, what the marketing will allow you to do is to create a competitive environment which will then put you in control of the process. Yeah. Because right now the tail in the developed world, the tail is wagging the dog in terms of employers trying to get talent. It's absolutely the other way around. It's talent choosing what employer they want to go work for. So that marketing will help you create a larger talent pool, and then your third thing, of course, is obviously get them over the line. Getting negotiating that deal, how that needs to look, but also finding out what they're wanting out of it. So this is what I like about attraction, because if someone's looking for a job, they're motivated and they're looking, and there's a reason for them looking. If you go and tap somebody up, it's fine, it's fantastic, and obviously that's a massive part of how the world spins. Yeah. But you're then having to go forward and go, hey, this is what's great about us. You're having to sort of you're reaching. You're like, hey, this is what's great about us. This, you should come work here. This is the best company ever. So
and switch from what and are used to switch to something new.
And you do run the risk of potentially, and I've seen a hell of a lot of this in the last 5 years, is where companies will oversell an opportunity. They will oversell, so they will oversell what their culture looks like. They will oversell what they're do you know what I mean? Like, and then or they'll say, oh yeah, we're going to give you equity, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and then 6 months later, I see it all the time. Where candidate ring up and say, I've been promised all this stuff, and it's not happened. So expectations need to be clear, and that's where doing the marketing will actually help, because then you're getting people that are looking. Do you know what I mean? So the people that are actually actively in the marketplace looking for new opportunities, you say, hey, here's what we've got. This is how great it is. It's a competitive environment. Lots of people are applying for this. We've got a deadline. I think you're going to increase your chances of getting a successful hire a lot more than going out and saying and wrenching someone out of a business who may or may not be looking. And that's where and then the other problem with that is you get counter offers.
Right.
So let's say you're looking to pay 100. Someone's like, look, I'll do it for 120. So you say, cool, I'll pay you 120. Then his employer goes, well, shit, if I got to go pay a recruiter 20 grand and lose this guy 6 months productivity, if you stay, I'll give you 130. I'll give you, and it's just, and then they've got that relationship there that's in the office, and it's like, I can't believe you're leaving. Like, why don't you tell me? You know what I mean? So it's really, really tricky. So I think if you can define what you need, do some great marketing, get a video done. Like, the companies don't do this. Get a video done. And then make sure that where possible, make sure the expectations are really good, make sure everyone's on track, they know what's expected of them. If they can do a situation where they come and meet some of the team members before the contractors, like we try and where possible, we'll try and if we're recruiting someone for Lynx, we'll shoot down the road, there's a bar down the road, we'll go have a couple of drinks with them, just some of the guy, whoever's around, like don't have the whole army turn up. But we'll have some of the guys turn up for a drink, and there's something about meeting them in that non-formal setting. You just see this whole other side of them. It's really, it's bizarre, because when you're in this, arranged marriage that you're about to enter into, it's so weird,
We're all best behaviour, you're all kind of trying to,
Isn't it amazing? You got 2 hours, you spend 2 hours with someone, say first interview, second interview, which is rare in this market. Psych test, maybe. References, maybe. And then you're like, right, we're going to work together for the next 5 years. It's actually kind of insane when you think about it. Whereas, that's where contract's good, because you can kind of meet someone first.
Like dating before you're married.
It is. Well, that's right? You go on 2 arranged dates and then decide you want to get married, basically. It's pretty wild when you think about it. So, but those would be the big three. So, get everything.
All you're on, trying to get measured, attract and headhunt, a bit of both, and getting most of the time.
Role. Some roles there's only going to be 20 candidates available in New Zealand. And that is what it is. So you're gonna have to go out there and forcefully get your message across, or and in markets like that, you either pay more or you train more.
Right.
Those are your 2 options.
Sure. Now, recruiters get a bad rap.
Yes.
Why is that?
So the number one thing I think that we hear is, I applied for this job, no one came back to me. So it's a lack of comms, or they're in the middle of a process and it drops out. So it's the communication things. Probably, I applied for this job and no one told me. I guess the unfortunate reality is, like recruitment companies, they're businesses at the end of the day. So they have financial targets. So every recruiter that works for a recruitment company will have a target that he needs to hit. Typically in New Zealand, that's going to be somewhere around $20,000 per month. It's hard to reach that target if you're spending your days politely letting people down. So this is like, this is something that people aren't going to want to hear. And
but it's the truth.
It's the reality. And the other thing too, I think most recruiters, because recruiters are sitting there, and I probably sound like I'm making excuses for recruiters. And to be quite frank, I'm happy to sit here and take the hit for the recruitment industry. It's been good to me. So if recruiters face so much rejection on a daily basis. It's almost like one of those things where there's like a circle of trauma there repeating itself, where it's like the recruiters aren't going back to the candidates, and then the candidates aren't getting back to the recruiters, and the clients aren't getting back to recruiters. Everyone's kind of bullshitting each other. Like no one's really like, you know what I mean? Like it's just a bit of a funny environment. In the perfect world, you would get an application. It's not successful. Ring the person and say, "Hey, look, thank you so much for your application. You're not successful today. This is why. If I've got anything else on file, I'll definitely let you know. Let's catch up for coffee. I'll give you some advice." We're not fairy job mothers. Like we need, like, it's a commercial based. You've got to go out there and make money. If you need career counselling, you need a CV servicing, or you need help with your career in the direction and getting a role, there are other services for that. A recruitment agency, a specialist recruitment agency, is not that place.
No, you're the matchmaker. You're not there to actually
Well, our
help the
clients
person
are,
kind of.
yeah, and our clients are paying us for us, you know, and 9 times out of 10, what we do is specialists, right? So someone's coming to us for a quantity surveyor. You know, if somebody comes through and they've got absolutely no experience in construction or even accounting, you know,
we can't help them.
It's not. I don't think we have a moral obligation to go back to them.
Yeah,
I think fair enough for trying their luck, but I don't see. So that's probably the number one thing. And then once again, it all comes down to those financial targets. Like that's going to create the behaviour. So the incentive as being a recruitment consultant is to make deals. And this is the same for a real estate agent, anybody in sales, any business, you know. So I think we have recruitment, because it's quite a personal thing, it's a job, and rejection's really tough. So you know, and as recruiters, we get rejected all day, so we get very thick skin very quickly. A lot of people that we come across haven't had any massive rejection in their life. Like they've never, you know, and then you know, they get rejected, or they're not being got back to, and they take it really personally. They get quite emotional about it. And yeah, I guess we've had emails like that and a couple of 1-star reviews. You know, it's just stuff that it was just so far out of the realm of possibility for us to give that person the time and I would love to. I'd love to have a customer care team of 50 people that were like talking to all our clients, talking to all our candidates, everyone that had been through our experience. How do we make the experience better? What do we do? You know, we don't have that resource. I wish we did, but maybe one day we'll be big enough or we'll have that kind of resource, and we won't.
There's a different way of doing it, perhaps. I mean, maybe there's another way of doing it, but anyway.
And then some recruiters, to be quite frank, are just quite not. I wouldn't say dodgy, but like do some pretty unscrupulous stuff. So
just in it for the money.
You know, and once again, it comes to the territories. If someone's super money hungry, you are in a position where you can you know, like you could place a candidate into a client, and then 3 months later you're like, hey, what's going on? Like, this other job. And
what a kind of
and we hear clients all the time will tell us, oh, you know, we spent X amount of dollars with this agency. 6 months later, they rip them out, place them somewhere else. So
unscrupulous,
unscrupulous, yeah. But there's normally two sides to that story, just quietly, because quite often it can't, like, we'll get a call from a candidate. He's like, look, I've been here 6 months. What's been promised hasn't been delivered. The culture sucks. The project's completely behind. Do you know what I mean? There's all these things that obviously the employer wasn't saying. If the employer just said, hey, look, we've got a bit of a battle here. We're going to pay you well. We need your help to get through this. It's a challenge. You know, once again, it's just getting people under the right pretense.
Good communication. So what's your ideal client look like? Who do you love working with?
So for us, it's we're dealing with some bigger clients now, but I do love working for SMEs, like companies that are growing, 20 to 50 staff, maybe even more, you know, where we're dealing with the owners direct. You know, that's really cool, because then we can build a relationship. We understand their business. I've got one client. I don't get to recruit as much these days, but I had a client that must have been 2 or 3 years in recruitment. Meet up with them for another client, and basically they went for a real growth spurt, and I was like their recruiter of choice, and I recruited all these people. So I'd go into their office. I'd go in the office, be like, oh all these people, all these people are there, like you know, I go there front, you know, and it's just like you know, how.
Like a team you've built,
and that's really cool. So businesses where we can have that sort of impact and really help move the needle in their organisation, that's cool. Don't always get, that's quite rare to get that opportunity these days, but that's what we really like.
There's some good mid-sized businesses out there that are family owned or privately owned, are definitely sort of starting to move the needle in the industry. I've
always thought, you know, like if we could be like a champion for small businesses and help them compete for great talent that might otherwise be taken up by bigger companies. I kind of almost feel that that's like almost like been a bit of a Robin Hood sort of So do you know what I mean? We can. I tell you, we're talking about the pros and cons of poaching. We can poach someone really great from a big corporate and put them into a small business, and it transforms that small business, develops all the people in that small business, helps their careers. Do you know what I mean? Takes the thing from 20 to 50. That's cool. That's
where you're making a huge impact, right? Yeah.
Then it's not just about the fee. Like the fee's going to be the fee wherever. Yeah. So given the choice, that's the sort of business that we'd love to be able to help. But yeah.
So if somebody's sitting here listening and wants to get in contact with you, how do they do that?
Our website, lynxrecruitment.co.nz.
Yep.
Or just email me, peter@lynxrecruitment.co.nz. And
Awesome. Hey, look, I really appreciate you being really honest about some of this stuff. I think sometimes we bullshit ourselves around some of the stuff that's going on. So I appreciate your honesty and sharing that stuff. Just to recap, so the 3 things you can do: make sure you know what you want and how that person will be measured. Use a mixture of attraction, which is you going out there and actually putting your best foot forward and ensuring that your business is in the best possible light, with some headhunting if required. And then, but you need somebody to actually help you get them over the line and make sure that what you're offering is what you can actually deliver, and that both parties are happy. Yeah. Yep. Perfect. 100%. Well, thank you so much for coming in. Really appreciate it.
Thanks,
look forward to kind of following you with interest and seeing where this recession, where the other R word goes. Will it be big? Will it be deep? Will it be shallow? Who knows? But yeah,
we shall follow. Everyone will be wrong. That's all I can say.
Yeah, that's right.
It's guaranteed.
Cool. Hey, thanks, Peter. Appreciate your time.